guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. Today we'll be talking about a rather peculiar model from BMW. I'm referring to the 3 Series GT, or Gran Turismo as they call it. Now, the reason I'm saying that the GT is a bit of a peculiar model is because it only has about 4 years of production so far. It is a rather new contraption from BMW that was, and I'm guessing really still is, trying to figure out a way to keep up with the competition and keep its luxury sales crown untouched. Now, initially they thought that diversifying their portfolio would lead to increased sales because they would appeal to every single customer out there. Now, rumors are saying that some models will be axed because BMW has to refocus and invest in electric cars from now on, electric and hybrid cars. That remains to be seen, but one of the models that will probably be axed is the 3 Series GT I'm in right now. And that's really a shame because the car really offers a lot of advantages compared to traditional 3 Series models and the competition. I'm gonna go into that right now. So the 3 Series GT is based on the long wheelbase 3 Series that is being made and sold exclusively in China. You may not have heard of it because it's not really all that known, but in China the thing is, culture demands that you offer as much room to the rear seat occupants as you can. That's a sign of respect over there. So a lot of manufacturers, including BMW, are creating bespoke models only for the Chinese market to satisfy their desire for such extended space for the occupants in the back. The 3 Series GT is one of those cars. It is offered in China and it is built on top of this long wheelbase platform to offer as much space as possible. Compared to a regular 3 Series, it offers 7 centimeters more in terms of knee room in the back, and you can feel it as soon as you step in the step in the back, because you get this roomy feeling. Of course, the roof does cut into the headroom a bit in the back, but you get all this extra leg room that it doesn't really bother you. You can just slide down a little. It also offers a lot more boot space. That is one of the attributes that makes the 3 Series GT more of a family car than anything else. You get 520 liters of boot space in the back with the seats up, which is more than the F11 5 Series Touring. So you get a lot of room in the 3 Series GT. Fold the seats and that storage space goes up to 1600 liters, and you can fit a lot of stuff in there. The main issue here is because of the shape of the roof, you won't be able to fit a lot of stuff. Theoretically, you get 1600 liters of space, but practically it will all depend on what kind of object you want to place in there. If it's rectangular or a box, it may not fit that well. In terms of dynamics, that's what really interests us regarding the 3 Series and the 3 Series GT. Now, compared to the sedan and the touring, the 3 Series GT is heavier. It's heavier than both of them. It's the heaviest 3 Series GT, the heaviest 3 Series model you can get, and there's a reason for that. All the added room, the longer body adds up. This car also comes with a panoramic roof, which adds even more kilos. I don't have the exact specs on me right now, but I'm guessing it's getting closer to 2 tons. So yeah, it is a heavy car. In that respect, I wouldn't recommend the 2-liter engines that start off the BMW lineup in terms of 3 Series GT options. I wouldn't recommend them. It's not that they can't help manage all this weight, but it's just that the fuel consumption will ruin you on the long run, because those engines will be forced to be revved up even more than usual in order to keep up with the traffic and so on. So you'll end up using up a lot more fuel than you should. What I do recommend is 3-liter engines, straight 6s, out of which you have a couple of options. You have the 335i on the pre-facelift models and 340i on the facelift ones, like the one I'm driving. And you also have the 330D and the 335D on the diesel front. Now the one I'm driving is the 330D, and it is the one I would go for. It has the old engine, unfortunately. It didn't migrate to the B57, and I'm guessing that's because BMW is planning to cease the production of the 3 Series GT once its 7 years are up. But still, the old N57 engine is pretty good. It offers 258 horsepower and 560 Newton meters of torque, which are more than enough for a car of this weight. Speaking of which, the sprint from 0 to 62 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour takes just 5.6 seconds in the xDrive version that I'm driving, as you're about to see. So even though it has a peculiar shape, the 3 Series GT is quite fast off the line, and it will not be a problem to do some overtaking on the highway at speeds over the speed limit. I'm not going to mention the speed limit, but it will not be an issue. This thing will move. Yeah, I can say the same about the 2-liter engines, but the 3-liter one, the diesel one with plenty of torque, it will move when it wants to move. It's also quite refined, and on a GT line car, on a car that's supposed to be a comfortable cruiser, that's why it's called the Gran Turismo, I recommend the Silky Smooth engine. The 4-cylinder ones can be a bit rugged on the edges, so they might be a bit noisier than you might expect. As a Grand Tourer, this car is absolutely perfect, especially in the back. The rear seats can adjust forward and backwards. They can adjust the rear seats, the inclination, and they are extremely comfortable. No complaints over there, nothing to complain about. The one gripe I have with this car, and to be honest it can't be helped, is the weight. So as I mentioned, this is about 140 kilos heavier than the rest of the lineup. But that's not the main issue. BMW figured out a way recently to keep weight in check. You can use adaptive dampers, you can use all sorts of new technology that keeps the weight in check. However, the issue is the position of this weight, because due to the construction of the 3 Series GT, all the weight is a bit higher than you would expect it to. Therefore, the center of gravity is higher, so whenever you try to do some sporty driving, even with the M Sport package as this car has it, you won't be able to get those thrills you're looking for. This isn't an athlete, not by a long shot, and there's nothing you can do about it, but you need to know this before you buy a 3 Series GT. Due to the high center of gravity, whenever you corner really hard and you push your car into a corner or a tight turn, you will feel all of the weight leaning forward on the front left tire or the right tire. And even with xDrive, you won't have a lot of control over it, and it just isn't a really great experience behind the wheel. Another gripe I have with this car are the brakes. Now the one I'm testing is the M Sport, has the M Sport package, and these are supposed to be the best brakes you can get on the 3 Series GT if we ignore the M performance side of things, which, if you ask me, doesn't really make sense on a 3 GT. But moving on, the brakes on this car just don't offer real feedback. You press them and you don't know just how much the car is braking. It's really annoying. You can actually reach a corner with more speed than you were intentioning to, than you wanted to, and you're going to be taken by surprise. You're going to have to do some really weird maneuvers. People will say you're crazy, but that's a big issue for me. You don't have the feedback you need on board the 3 Series GT. Other than that, inside the cabin, everything is just normal 3 Series business. The layout is all too familiar. The facelift received new headlights, new taillights, and the digital instrument cluster, and the new iDrive system, which works flawlessly. It did get some new engines, but not the 3-liter diesel engine. It got the 340i engine, and there are some noticeable improvements. In the future, my guess is that BMW will drop the 3 Series GT because it didn't prove to be quite as popular as they expected it to be. It didn't prove to be the popular choice like the 5 Series GT was. And considering that the 4 Series Grand Coupe is facing the same issue, these two will most likely be combined into a 4 Series or 3 Series GT offered for all markets. Overall, my biggest complaints, so as I mentioned, as a conclusion, my biggest complaints are the weight of the car, and not necessarily the number of it, but the position, the fact that it is extremely high, the center of gravity is high, and the brakes. Other than that, on the road, the car is extremely comfortable and it is perfect for a family because it offers a lot of space. But then again, if you're buying a BMW expecting it to be sporty and you also want it to be a family car, you should probably go for the 3 Series Touring. This has been my review of the 3 Series GT. Hope to see you guys next time.